Hello everybody, welcome to IWS4 episode 9. So, what am I going to talk about today? Okay, everybody. Yes, shall we begin? The last episode was focused on me going away, and we were going to go away, my partner and I, we were going to go away on a cruise. We were going on a Virgin cruise because it was, number one, an adults only cruise, and number two, we were told it was one of the better cruises to go on if you really want to have a lot of variety and things like that. So anyway, we've been on our cruise, and I know what I said to you, part of the reason as to why we were also going away was so that we can spend more quality time with each other, see what we're like together when we are actually thrust together. And also we really wanted to spend some time with God and together and have Bible study. And indeed, we did all of that. So in the mornings, we'd wake up and the first thing we would do was have Bible study. Probably last for about 30 to 45 minutes, but that would set up our day. And then we will go off and we'll have breakfast. And if we were going for a tour, we'll go for a tour. Or if not, we'll hang around and do some. To be fair, the trip was awesome. So if you are looking for a cruise, I can highly recommend the Virgin Voyages. We did the Mediterranean. We did the, what was it called? Oh my gosh, it was called, I'll have to remember it. Something med it was called. But anyway, it was really, really good. The people, the staff, the boat, the cabin, the food, absolute awesome. It was literally top Michelin star restaurant style food, no matter what restaurant you went to. And the great thing was everything was included, so we didn't have to pay anything extra for anything apart from if we wanted to have alcoholic drinks. And the entertainment, so much entertainment. I don't think we did all of the entertainment that was on board, so we missed a number because we were doing other things, but there was so much to do. And so much to do to the point that we felt like there were so many God incidences, the people that he put in our paths, the lessons he was teaching us, the things he was saying to us, the things he was telling us to grab hold of, things he was telling us to let go. But we were experiencing this now together, and it was just like, it was such a blessed time. We were there for 7 days, and for the whole 7 days on the ship, we absolutely loved it. And then we had an extra day in Barcelona, and again, we absolutely loved that. And then we came home, and in coming home, we had a whole week separation because my partner had COVID. So he was in his house, I was in my house, didn't see him for a week. And then after that, we kind of came back together. But the thing was, everybody kept asking us, how's your cruise? How's your cruise? And it was just like, no matter who asked us, it was like, oh my God, it was awesome. It's the best thing since sliced bread. We had this, we did this, we went here, we did there. We told everybody our story. It was just wonderful. And I think so good that we had started planning another cruise. And the same with Virgin, but they were going from Miami. No, they were going from Vegas to Miami. And then we were doing a trip to the Bahamas and then coming back to Miami. So we're planning that for December because we so much loved the cruise that we went on. So this was going on in the background, and we were so excited, and we could make it work because the different things that we could put together to make it work and make it economical, so we could go on another cruise. And everything was great, wonderful, because it was all about the cruise, right? It was about the fact that we had a wonderful time with God, and it was a wonderful time on the cruise, right? And then there was one day we went to a friend's birthday party. It was one of his friend's birthday party. And there was, he had a number of other friends that were there. And one of the wives of one of his friends, like, she doesn't really like going on cruises, and her husband was like saying, oh, you know, you need to talk to my wife. You need to kind of like convince her, because he really wants to go on a cruise. You need to convince her about going on a cruise. So she happened to sit next to us, like opposite us, and my boyfriend was on one side, I was on the other. And we were like telling her about this cruise. And we were just like going, oh, it's awesome. You need to go on it. Like, you know, if you want to go on an adult only cruise, you can choose the Virgin or you can choose other ones. But we were saying to her how wonderful our experience was. And she just looked at us both and she just goes, oh my gosh, you guys are getting so animated about this. Like, I can just see it in you, how excited you are about the cruise. At the time, I was like, yeah, it's, you know, it's a great cruise. It was a wonderful cruise. But then I came away and I thought to myself, I was like, was I really animated about this cruise? Like, was it the cruise? Like, was the cruise that fantastic that everything was about the cruise? You know, it was just like the cruise this, the cruise that. We went on this, we did that, you know? And then I just kind of like went to like a quiet place where I could just reflect on everything. And in that moment, I realized something that I hadn't realized before. And I realized that, yeah, the cruise was great. The cruise was awesome. We had a great time. Fantastic people, fantastic food. There's none of the things that I said to you were not true, because yes, it was true. But what was even more special was actually the person I was on the cruise with. And I feel I had forgotten that. I feel like I'd put that to the background, because we could have had all of those things. And if I was traveling with somebody that we didn't get on, or, you know, I didn't really want to be by his side, or he didn't want to be by my side, or we argued or whatever, I don't think we would have come back saying the cruise was wonderful. I don't think if we hadn't have spent the time with God in the mornings and done our devotions together and prayed together and talked together and experienced each other in a spiritual way, I don't think we'd be coming out with how fantastic the cruise was. So I think that part and parcel of the reason as to why we had such a fantastic time was because we put God in the center, and it was both of us. And like, when I got to that realization, I realized that we spent every single minute together, apart from probably 1 hour where he went to the gym on his own. But aside from that, we were together for the whole period of time, for the whole 8 days. Right from the point of time that we got into the car to go to the airport, to the time when we got picked up from the airport to come back into back to his house to pick up my things and then go back to mine, we were together. And I feel like when we were trying to book the next trip, we were trying to get that back, but we thought it was in the cruise. We thought it's the cruise. We need to go on another cruise because we loved that feeling and it was great and da-da-da. And don't get me wrong, it was awesome. And I'm sure the cruise had a place in it. But I think over and above the cruise, it was the fact that it was more about the individuals going on the cruise, me and him, and the fact that we were being drawn closer together through God, because we put God in the center, and he gave us this fantastic experience of each other that, you know, we almost missed. Well, I almost missed it. I don't know if he got it, but I almost missed it. So I went back and I started reflecting on just us. You know, if you take out all the glitter and the glamour and all of that kind of stuff, and we shoved all of that aside and just focused on us, like we were the only two people on the ship. What was that like? And I suddenly realized that that's it. You know, that's the sensation. That's the feeling. That's the awesomeness. That's what it is that I want. So then, like, I'm like, okay, this is great. So we had a conversation. Yes, we did. We had a very serious conversation. And the conversation was really about focusing, well, what do we actually want? Like, you know, do we want to just continue this because we can do this all day long? Or do we really want to get serious? And do we really want to start looking at our lives together? Like, what will that look like? And are we really serious about each other? You know, this is all like chit chat that just came out. And we had the conversation, and I was so glad we had the conversation, because I think we're both on the same page as to where we are and what we need to do if we want to be somewhere else. So, but I think what's really important is speaking to God. So, so I have been seeking God, like, earnestly, like, you know, and people say different things. Some people say God will tell you. Some people say God will show you. Some people say God doesn't say anything because it's your choice. But from where I'm at, I remember I actually had a dream, and you know, I have quite a few dreams, especially now, recently, I'm having quite a lot of dreams, and God's really trying to get my attention. But this particular dream, it was actually me and my partner. So recently I've started having a lot of dreams with me and him in it. It wasn't the case before. Sometimes I'd have a dream and it will just be him, or it will just be me. But now I'm having dreams of both of us together. And the very first one that I had was we were both praying together, which is like awesome. We're both praying together, but what we were praying for is, we're praying for, number one, like his ministry, what God has for him. We're praying for whether that what God has for him is the same as what God's got for me, and whether, you know, they're kind of like working together. And then we're also praying to God to see whether we were meant to be for each other, whether God, you know, whether God is pleased with our union, and whether it's something that God has put, you know, whether God has brought us together. And I feel like, you know, I've always been praying on that, because I've always said to God, this is not it. Please send him away. As much as I don't want it to be, but please send him away if he is not mine. But if he is, please draw him closer to me. So that's what I've been praying. But it was just awesome to be able to have a prayer where it was both of us together asking God for the same thing. And because we were doing it in the spirit, yeah, there was this is like our heart, our true heart, going to God asking for this. We don't want any confusion, because there is no confusion. God is not a God of confusion. So yeah. And ever since I've had that dream, I've had other dreams, and I've believed that for me, what God is showing me is what life would be like if God would connect us. And what God is asking me is this what I want? You know, like, this is what it will be like. Is this what I want? Because God brings you your heart's desires. So is this your heart desire? Is this, you know, now that I've laid it all in front of you and you can see what the picture's going to look like, you might not know the journeys that you're going to go on, but essentially this is what it's going to be like. Are you happy with this? God is so gracious to show you. You know, God is so gracious to show you what that union is going to be like, should you choose to move forward with it. And I think it took a couple of goes, because the first time around I was like, yeah, I don't quite know what you're saying to me, God. But then he came again, second time around, and I was like, okay, I get it. I know, I understand, God. So yeah, so now I do believe like I've got my word from God that I've been waiting for. Obviously, I'm not going to share that word with you. No. Well, not yet anyway. Yeah, so yeah, I've got my word. But I pray also that, you know, God has also, what God has shown to me, that God shows to him in his own way, because everybody sees things in different ways. And maybe God is showing it to him, because there's a couple of situations that have happened recently which are like, you know, I'm like, is God showing him stuff? Like, he shows it to me in my dreams, but he shows it to him in waking, you know, in the waking light, in natural world and stuff, because maybe he simulates it better that way. Maybe that's what God's showing to him. What life would be like. So Now that God's shown that to me, I guess the question that God wants me to answer is, well, is that what I want? Yes or no? So I'm taking a minute to think about that, to really process it, because it's not like, I'd say, traditional. So, the way things happen traditionally, that's not what this is going to be like. So, and the question for me really is that, do I want tradition or do I want what God is showing me? I know for sure I want what God has for me. That's what I know I want for sure. But I guess if God is giving me the choice, then literally he's saying to me, it's up to you. Like, either way, you'll be blessed. So either way, it's okay. God's not said, he's not yanked him away. He's not says no, which God can easily say no to. And God knows how to say no in so many different ways, because he's done it before in my life in so many different ways. So God's not saying no, but God's like saying, it's your choice. So if God gives you a choice, everything that comes from God is good, right? So for me, it's more about deciding myself if this is what I want. And I do believe that we're at that point, really. We've been together for 8 months now, and I feel like we either go deeper or we don't. We either go like this or we go like that. And I feel like, this is like for the rest of your life. So it's a very serious question, and it's a very serious choice that you need to make. But nevertheless, it's a choice that one has to make. So you make your choices. And I feel like sometimes, depending on how God answers you, will determine what you then do, what your next steps will be. Because sometimes God shows the answer in the dreams to the guy, and then shows something and gives the woman peace. Sometimes God shows both of you. Sometimes God shows the woman and gives the man peace. I don't know. And so I don't know what God has shown him. Maybe I should have a conversation. I should ask him. Might be a good idea. So maybe I'll do that. Or maybe not. No, and when I mean asking, I mean maybe I should ask him if God has spoken to him in a dream. or what, or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit muffled today because I don't know. I'm at that point where I don't know. I don't have the answers, which is very, very strange for me, because normally I'd be like, we do it this way, but I don't have the answers. I'm working my way through it. I've heard what God said, and I can see what God said as well, because I can see it's 100%. I can see it. So for me, I've just got to know whether it's what I want. And so that's it. Anyway, that said, I feel like I've only got one more episode in this series to do, and I feel like I'm going to leave that until I've got some news, whatever that news is, whatever the news is. I think I'm going to leave it till then, because I think all really the advice that I can give you, if you're at this point, is just to seek God. That's all you can do. Just keep seeking God and ask God from your heart to show you if you're in a relationship, if this is right, if this is the one, if this is the relationship that you can work your purpose through, whatever the purpose that God has given you. You've got to know what your purpose is first. You got to know that God has got a purpose for your life, and be willing to walk in that purpose, and and then see how that aligns up with your relationship with the person that you're with. Whether that draws you closer towards your purpose or moves you further away, whether it causes issues, and all of those things. So all the things that I've said as part of the journey in this series is really about getting to know the person, know yourself, understand your person, your purpose, him understanding his purpose, how you come together, how you gel. And I think for us, spending a whole 8 days together, and I know some people might not think that's long, but when you're not used to doing that, the maximum we've done before is like 4 days. But spending this length of time together, you kind of like know whether you need more time or whether you're at a point where you can actually make a decision. And then I think at that point, you really need to, if you're still together at that point, you really need to dig into God and spread it before God and ask God to, to show you what it is you need to see, to show you a snapshot of what your future would look like if you choose this person, and also to show you whether that's good or not, because God will show you. He'll show you everything. If you spread it before him, he'll show you everything. He'll show you. But then there's nothing that he's given to you that he hasn't already prepared you for. So if he shows it to you, then he's prepared you for it. So it's a question of, do you want to walk in faith or not? And I guess that's what God's asking me. Do I want to walk in faith over this? And if I do want to work in faith over this, then maybe I'm not in the waiting room anymore. I don't know. I'm just talking. Anyway, that's that. That's all I'm going to talk about. So I hope you got something from this. Because I know it's a whole lot of blabber. I just blabbered all my way through this whole episode. But I think it's because, I'm at crunch point, really. It's time to, it's showtime. Yeah, it's showtime. So now I'm just speaking to God and just asking him to reveal, like, what showtime looks like. So next time you see me, you will see the results, or you'll hear the results. So pray for me. Take care. Bye.